Hi, this is Dr. Ralph Wilson with Web Marketing Today. I'm in Chicago at the Search Engine Strategies Conference talking with Amanda Watlington, who's an expert in the area of search marketing. You said that this next year you're seeing several challenges, particularly for organic search optimization.
Yes, Ralph, it's very interesting because we are continuing to see searches evolving and some things are changing that can have severe impact on some sites, and they're not things that we can change as search marketers in a minute or two. The announcement recently that Google will be using, they have been using it already for their AdWords quality score, that they will be using page load speed as part of their ranking metrics, I think has some pretty profound impacts for those who have beautiful but slow sites.
Why do you think they're doing that?
Well, absolutely. If you go back and you look at the Business Week articles that appeared in October, Business Week, the online version, they did a series of interviews with Google executives, and one of the things that kept coming through is that the size of the web creates enormous scalability issues. You got a slow site, you create issues for them in terms of how fast they can access your site, how fast they can pull data off of it. And you think about their own interface and their own site. It's very lean. It's there in before you finish the query, it's already, you've got your results. And so if you're running a big, fat, slow site, it's not going to be something you can fix in a minute or two.
Have they given any guidelines on what is the file size load, or is this in terms of the server speed, or both?
It's a combination of factors. They're actually some pretty good tools. They've been around for a while, some of them, and actually for a number of years I've used YSlow. I've been looking at site speed for the last 2 years, because I have had the same conviction that if you don't make it where it can be indexed quickly, where you don't run a lean site, it's both bad for the user and very bad for search. But there's a number of tools. Google has their own Google Speed tools, and there's quite a large inventory growing of speed tools to check. Once you know where the problems are and you can use the tools for diagnosis, then you can start fixing. And in some instances, the fixes are quite complex because they're part of the back-end engineering of the site in many instances.
Are there any benchmarks at this point on what is appropriate? I mean, I know there were benchmarks back in the days when everyone had dial-up accounts, but what are the benchmarks, or are they really out there?
There are benchmarks, and they are available through, I want to say, fee-for-service companies. Some of them are available. You can see them online through companies like Gomez that do site speed. But just flatly, if somebody runs a set of the diagnostics available through either YSlow or Google Speed, they can start to see, ooh, do I have a problem or do I not? How bad? Where does it exist? Is it something that I can fix by working my JavaScript differently? Is it something I can fix relatively easily? In some instances, it isn't, and that's why I think people need to get ahead of it now.
So site load speed is coming, and we have to start looking at it very seriously now.
Now, because it is not something that you fix in a few hours. It's a pretty heavy duty.
Yes.
Often, it takes 6 months or more to fix, depending on how you're engineered.
What's the second challenge you see?
The second big challenge is really coming out of localization. We see the map, we see all of the local data, and yet I still see businesses that have not, as I call it, claimed their push pins.
What do you mean by that?
They have not seen fit to complete the forms, the online forms, to claim their maps, their little push pin on the map.
You were talking about local businesses or regional businesses that have individual physical sites.
Yes,
we're not
physical
talking about
locations.
national web-only businesses.
Not web-only businesses, but if you think about a business with multiple sites, they need to claim every single one of those sites. They need to be able to be found locally.
If they have a store in Boston and one in someplace outside of Boston and 2 or 3 others, they need to go after each of those and
and finish and fill the data. The other thing they need to do when you look
this is the data on Google Maps?
Yes, on Google Local. They need to go to the
Google
Small Business Center and do that work. One of the things which I think is interesting is that they also need to look and make sure that the data that is being pulled from other sources is accurate. And a lot of people file that data and never think twice. They never go back and look at it. And yet I hear customers say, but that's wrong. But because you put it in wrong into the original source, whether it be Yellow Pages type data or wherever Google is pulling from.
So you need to talk with those ubiquitous people on the phone that said, I'm calling to update your data.
Exactly. Don't blow them off. Don't blow them off. That's one of the many sources. And again,
so localization is getting bigger, and therefore we need to take it very seriously.
Yes.
What's the third?
The third big challenge is the increased growth in personalization. We're seeing already. We've seen it for a while. The history your search history informing your next set of search results. That poses for us as search marketers a real interesting dilemma. Increasingly, how are people going to find you in the first place? Particularly if they're searching for specifics. We're going to have to do a better job, and we're going to have to be aware that it is no longer just being number one for a specific keyword, because you may not be number one for that person's browser.
So what are we going to do now? As I understand it, so people's search results are going to be formed by what they've just searched on, and if they're logged in, what they may have searched on 2 weeks ago.
Right, and they don't have to be logged in.
Okay, at least for this session.
Right.
Okay.
But it's not just for this session. It uses the history to inform your search history from whenever you cleared it. And it's interesting in that I think it calls for, and again, this is just my opinion, I believe it's calling for an increased effort on being found through multiple sources, not just relying on a number one ranking or a number two rank, but rather having a broader footprint across the web so that you have more sites, more sources feeding your results. Such as your referring sites will become more important. Where all are you listed? What all are people looking at? How good is your branding? And it calls to mind a lot more of those where somebody will be putting in brand name of the company, local, and they may say Joe's Pizza, Oak Grove, and to see what they, because they know Joe's Pizza as a brand, not just Pizza Oak Grove, because maybe they look for Joe on a regular basis, and they know he has maybe he's in Oak Grove, and they do that kind of search. We're seeing a change too, and as we fuse local and personalized search together, I think we're going to see changed search patterns. And we're going to see changed search marketing patterns. Those are, to me, the big challenges that are coming at us this year.
So if we've been lazy about the way we're doing business and just do it the way we've done it for several years, now's the time to get with it. And if we're small businesses or medium businesses, talk to our search engine people and say, what are you doing about this and this and this for me?
Absolutely. And some of it for small business, it's much more important, the localization, and the personalization issues. For a large business, and some of my clients are retailers with big sites with big engineering problems.
Well, so thank you for sharing with us. Tell me about your business now and what you do.
Searching for Profit is my business. Searching for Profit is a search marketing consultancy. We provide, strategic guidance to businesses looking to use search and new media as part of their marketing mix. My own personal focus is heavily on organic search, and I've been at it for years and years and years. Like 1994, 95 was my first contact with it.
Well, I know that you're a person that thinks strategically, and so you may be a good source for some of our viewers. This is Ralph Wilson with Web Marketing Today.